1, 2.
Recording. There.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm just turning my machine on.
All right, good. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out today for another edition of Entrepreneurons. I'm Laura Heisler. I'm Director of Programming for the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, and we are delighted to present this series in partnership with UW-Madison's Discovery to Project, or D2P office. Before I say more about today's event and some upcoming events that might be of interest, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the land that those of us here in the room are on, and many of you joining over Zoom are on as well. UW-Madison occupies ancestral Ho-Chunk land, a place their nation has called Teejop since time immemorial. In an 1832 treaty, the Ho-Chunk were forced to cede this territory. Decades of ethnic cleansing followed when both the federal and state governments repeatedly but unsuccessfully sought to forcibly remove the Ho-Chunk from Wisconsin. This history of colonization informs our shared future of collaboration and innovation. Today, UW-Madison respects the inherent sovereignty of the Ho-Chunk Nation, along with the 11 other First Nations of Wisconsin. So we're delighted to welcome those of you that are in the room, as well as those of you joining over Zoom. I would like to make you aware of a couple of other upcoming events you might like to get on your calendar. Next week, we'll be holding a session for primarily of interest to folks working here at UW-Madison on how to partner with defense and security agencies. And we'll have several UW-Madison researchers who have had their experience talking about how that's gone for them and how you can begin to explore those kinds of options for your own research. And then we will close out this academic year's Entrepreneurons series with the Arts Business Competition on April 27th at a special time. It'll be at 3, not the normal 4 that these sessions are normally at. So you might want to make a note for that as well. And now I'm going to go all the way back to today's slide. There we go. And just say a little bit about what to expect for today's presentation. So I am delighted that we have been able to assemble the speakers that we are bringing to you today. In just a moment, I'll be turning the podium over to today's moderator, Brenda Gonzalez, who is Director of Community Relations here at UW-Madison. Brenda will tell you a little bit about the South Madison Partnership that she spearheads, and then she'll introduce today's featured speaker, who will talk a lot about the Black Business Hub. After the featured presentation, we're going to transition to a panel discussion, which Ms. Gonzalez will moderate. And we'll hear a little bit more about how UW-Madison and the Black Business Hub might craft a future together. And then towards the end of the session, we will open things up for your questions, as we always do. If you're in the room, we'd ask you to line up at the mic that's in the middle of the room for questions. If you're joining over Zoom, please use the Q&A function as opposed to the chat to ask your questions, and I will read them aloud for you to the panel, and we'll handle as many questions as we can get to. We're expecting today's session to run to about 5:30, so just be aware that we're going to go a little bit longer than the usual hour because we have an in-depth presentation to learn about, and then we're going to have this great panel discussion. So with that, I am delighted to ask Brenda Gonzalez to come up and say a little bit about her role and get the afternoon started. I feel like I can get to your escape here. So, oh wait, how are you guys doing it from back there? Okay, never mind. That would be great. Okay, you got it? Okay.
Buenas tardes to everybody here and everybody on Zoom. We're going to start with a video, so let's watch a little bit of a South Madison Partnership.
South Madison is one of the oldest ethnic enclaves in the city, so it just makes sense that, you know, as South Madison is changing and we're trying to cause a renaissance to happen in South Madison, it's great that we have a partnership with the university, and they are helping us change lives every day.
It's right in the middle of the neighborhood. We have access to people here from all different nationalities and age groups. So we love being a part of the UW South Madison Partnership.
We want to bring the professionals from the university and the expertise from the community to come together and have a conversation to create a community that is improving their well-being and their understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
We really want to be that kind of connecting point between university and community groups, and also a resource to both groups to make sure that those relationships are successful for everybody involved.
You know, we talked about spacing.
There's a really wide range of campus groups, community groups, and collaborations that use our space. Some of the ones that have been here the longest and use the space the most are the UW Odyssey Project, the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, and the Neighborhood Law Clinic. Another program that's used our space recently is Bridging the Gap.
How about the I? Bridging the Gap is a 40-hour national curriculum about how to interpret in the healthcare environment. Brenda Gonzalez, she and I know each other from way back. So when the opportunity came up to do this training, she offered the space to us, and it's very nice to be in a comfortable, roomy place to be able to learn and be able to concentrate.
The reason we have both community and university groups using our space and collaborating in our space is that we want that relationship to be reciprocal. The goal is that it's a respectful, equal relationship between university and community partners.
Please ask me questions. And Brenda.
The university gets to have this connection, have access to information, have access to program evaluation and things that can benefit the researchers and things that can benefit the university. But at the same time, again, it brings those university resources closer to the people here in South Madison.
People from the neighborhood are welcomed into this space, but also, we also do memory studies, so we're able to conduct those testings here for people who don't want to come to UW Hospital.
We want to make sure, in terms of what we're thinking about when we have events, when we have meetings, when we have programs, that whoever the audience is, the community audience, they're who we're thinking about first.
Physical space matters a lot in the Latinx community. For us at Centro, we speak about how our building is not just a building, it's our home. And so the partnership space is the home of the community, out in the community for UW. For me, going into that space makes me feel that I'm connected to the university a lot more.
It is important for us to be able to introduce many of the things that are happening in our campus in a way that is maybe in the language that our community understands, in a way that is easy to understand and easy access for our community to then maybe perhaps visit our campus. It is important to make that connection.
Waiters always look at me and think that I'm gonna have a little salad, maybe a soup, and that'll be the whole meal. And when I do my actual order, this is priceless look on their face, like they can't believe, like, is someone else coming? I love
Thank you. So see why I'm so proud to show you a little bit about South Madison Partnership. It is really important that all of us here at the university on campus understand and know our city, our local community, in particular South Madison Partnership. I really think that if you visit or if you have visited, I know that you see the richness that we have there. So that's why I'm very, very proud to be here, not only because of my own journey, but also the journey of my partners here at the Urban League of Greater Madison. I think it is really important that we're gonna learn more about the details of how the South Madison Partnership is gonna change. It's changing behind and in front of our eyes. I think it is important to recognize how do we continue to have the partnerships that we have and grow them. I really think that it is going to be important for us to really connect in a deeper way than we have before. So for that, I'm excited that we have the Black Business Hub in UW-Madison, Opportunities for Transformation and Partnership. Right, a good, solid title for our conversation today. I'm really hoping that as you hear all of us presenting details about what is happening on South Park Street, on South Madison communities, that you think about your questions, that you really think about how you bring not only yourself in terms of what you are doing, but also your programs and projects. Not only that, but how you impact our students and how you want to connect them so they can see community. So I'm privileged to introduce Derek Smith. We have, as someone in the video say, we go way, way back. And I'm very proud of that. So thank you for being here. Derek Smith is the co-chair of Black Business Hub Capital Campaign Committee, certainly Senior Director of External Relations, Partnerships and Development of UW-Madison of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement. Let me tell you a little bit more about Derek. Previously, he was the Director of Development for the Wisconsin Institute for Discovery here at UW-Madison, where we are. He was responsible for fundraising, strategic planning, donor relations, and stewardship of major gifts. Derek has a degree in biochemistry and was previously the Director of Strategic Planning and Special Projects at Catholic Charities, where he helped initiate and complete the Beacon Homeless Day Center. Prior to that, he was area manager for Thermo Fisher Scientific and had worked in scientific sales and marketing for over 40 years. An Army brat, he was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and raised in Long Beach, California. He developed an early commitment to education, and he saw the community in which he was raised produce young people who didn't see college as an option. He went to the U.S. Air Force Academy and pursued his lifelong interest in science. Derek served as the past chairman of the board of directors of the Urban League of Greater Madison. He's also one of the chapter founders for the 100 Black Men in Madison, and past president of Madison Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity. He also serves on the Grace Hospice and Madison Symphony Orchestra boards. Again, as I mentioned, he's a co-chair of the Capital, one of the 3 co-chairs of the Capital Campaign for Urban League of Black Business Hub. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Derek Smith, and he will present the Black Business Hub information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Brenda, for that nice introduction. I'm not going to tell them how long it's been since we've known each other. And also that advertisement you saw with the pizza, is anybody going to bring that a little bit later? Okay, well, maybe not, but I'm hoping. Good afternoon, and I think that it's important, and I appreciate the people that are here about what we're going to talk about as far as the Black Business Hub in the South Side of Madison. On behalf of Dr. Ruben Anthony, CEO and President, staff, including Ed Lee, and the Board of Directors of the Urban League of Greater Madison, we thank you for your presence here for the presentation of the vision and opportunities of the Black Business Hub. Many people have contributed their time, energy, and resources to make this happen. Over 300 attended the groundbreaking last Friday, which was a great event. This included included many people in the community, including the governor, and the lieutenant governor, the mayor, and many other officials here in Madison and Dane County. The South Madison Renaissance is what we're calling this. Started over 10 years ago with the building of the new Urban League of Greater Madison at 2222 South Madison. It's taken a while to continue that growth with the rising of the Madison College South Campus, the expansion of One City Schools, the upcoming Center for Black Excellence, and the expansion of Central Hispano. So there's a lot of activity going on. And thank you, Brenda, for what you're doing in conjunction with the university and the partnerships and South Madison Partnership. Sorry about that. There you go. The South Madison Black Business Hub is part of the Urban League of Greater Madison, which is an affiliate of the National Urban League founded in 1968. The mission of the Urban League of Greater Madison is to ensure that African Americans and other community members are educated, employed, and empowered to live well, advance professionally, and contribute to the common good in the 21st century. The Urban League also includes different types of opportunities for our community members, such as adult workforce development programs, education and enrichment programs for youth, social justice and engagement programs for the community, which leads into making more wealth building and economic development programs. We also have a homeownership program and housing development, business development, and entrepreneurship, which is the main reason why the hub is built. The Black Business Hub. We're looking at this as a transformational part of Madison. You know, if you come down the Beltline and we see all those billboards on the Beltline, and you come down South Park Street, that's all you know about South Madison. We want this to be a beacon, really, of what we're trying to do here in South Madison and grow the opportunities for those less fortunate. So we're transforming the Madison Black entrepreneur community from disparity to prosperity. There are many extreme racial disparities that people know about and they read about, but maybe let's take a little deeper dive into what's happening here in Madison. Black and white racial disparities are larger than virtually anywhere else in the country. Black unemployment here in Madison is 5 times higher than for whites. 1 out of 3 Black children in our county live below the poverty level. And Black homeownership is 10% compared to 23% for Wisconsin and 46% nationally. One of the reasons that people ask, why is the hub important, is about those disparities. The 3 things I tell people that we need in this town, and most people need in this town, is one is a good roof over their head, education, and a good paying, livable job. The hub is going to start the process of developing those opportunities for those people that have those. Of the businesses also in Dane County with more than 1 employee, there's only 0.4% are Black owned. Out of 9,755 businesses here in Dane County, only 39 of them are Black owned. This is 5 times worse than the national average, which is 2.2%. Whites are 7 times more likely to own firms than Blacks. Only 2% of Madison Public Works contracting with minority firms, which is another reason why there is a lot of disparity in this town. When you see all the new projects going up on East Washington, right, and up on the corridor, the gentrification that's going on, the reason that is not getting down to the south side of Madison is a big problem. And we feel that by having a hub is going to help in that aspect. Black entrepreneurs are twice as likely to be denied loans for a variety of different reasons. Black businesses close at twice the overall rate during the COVID pandemic, and then they have the harder time of coming out of that pandemic. The Black Business Hub's vision is to be a Black-led entrepreneurial ecosystem and community network. It is going to be a regional destination space where Black-owned businesses can network, thrive, and build wealth for generations. The Black Business Hub Accelerator Program is a Black-led, place-based small business technical assistance and capital access program that drives the entrepreneurship ecosystem to promote the development, stabilization, and growth of Black and other minority-owned businesses. 1 is to give access to capital. A lot of people, when they start a business, especially those who are Black or brown, have no access to capital. So this is where they'll be able to come to get planning grants, expansion grants, and forgivable loans, and have connections to those investor networks. Because that if they don't have the face-to-face opportunity and the opportunity to sit down and talk about their dreams and aspirations and to get that capital, then the other parts of what they're trying to do on their business plan will not come to fruition. Small business technical assistance is one of the keys also to the Black Business Hub. Training and educational classes. Individualized business coaching and mentoring will be based inside the hub with professionals who are doing that as a living, but also are giving their time and their energy and their knowledge and know-how to people who need that. Provide shared services such as marketing, HR, technology, and more. And third but not least is to manage a community and peer support network among Black entrepreneurs. One of the things that is lacking among Black businesses is being involved with other Black businesses that look like them, have the same needs, have the same goals, but they still also lack the resources. So this is going to really bring together a peer network and a community network to help that process. Collaboration is a core strength of the Urban League. We pride ourselves on the partnerships, UW-Madison, the other types of companies here in Madison, along with the companies such as the One City Schools, the Madison Black Chamber of Commerce, WIBIC, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, Climb USA, and others. Additional partnerships with SBAs, SBDCs, and Upstart are opportunities for people to gather and to get opportunities to work with those who have grants, loans, and economic development opportunities for the partners in the Black Business Hub. Leveraging those relationships with financial institutions is key for access to capital, and we're going to have partnerships with many others as we move forward. The Accelerator program is another part of the Black Business Hub. This is where we will have an opportunity for these entrepreneurs to look at how they can access these loans and accelerate their growth into their business. There are going to be 2 webinars hosted. There have been 2 webinars hosted so far with over 80 entrepreneurs attending. The Business Planning and Governor's Business Plan Competition in Wisconsin Technology Council and Small Business Funding 101. The Generator Alpha Urban League is a 4-week cohort-style accelerator for early-stage entrepreneurs or existing businesses with new or expansion plans. These are where companies will come together, have lunch and learns with people who have already gone through this process and need to have access and more opportunity to sit down and to gather that information from these long-term entrepreneurs. And right now, we do have 24 participating entrepreneurs as we move forward. One of the accelerator programs that we do have is what we call Together We Build a Wealth Grant. This is a grant that was put together by Jan O'Neill and her family as a funding and honoree for her mother, Sylvia. And we are putting together grants that will access this fund. And I think the fund is almost $500,000 now. And so we're applications just closed. And then right now I know that we're vetting 52 Black-owned businesses that have already applied. This is the view from the outside of where the Black Business Hub will be on the corner of Hughes and South Park Street. JLA Architects is the lead architect for the building. And the person who is leading this is a Black architect that is working with JLA. It is going to be a 35,000 square foot commercial anchor. It is going to be mission aligned, nonprofits, and also financial institutions with long-term leases for stability. This is the opportunity for us to make sure that the hub has sustainable income so that it will continue on and not have to always go back to look at how do we do fundraising. The hub will be 45,000 square foot at well below market rate. Retailers and other people in the storefront spaces will have various sizes. There will be office spaces with different types of entrepreneurs, co-working for solopreneurs, startups, and others. There will be an atrium space for micro businesses. There will be a pop-up retail and events space, and then there will be a rentable commercial kitchen. Small business development agencies and other services will be provided inside the hub. One of the lasting ideas about the hub is the fact that we can really turn it into, as we talked about, a renaissance for South Madison. It started with the South Madison campus of the Madison College. One City Schools went into that. The Center for Black Excellence and Culture is looking into being in that space, their space in 2023. And then this, hopefully by the fall of 2023, the Black Business Hub will be up and running. So again, there are many partnerships and many opportunities for growth and the renaissance in South Madison. The architectural design of the building is reflective of the Black aesthetic. Drama, how it is asymmetric, the angularity of the building, openness, having an indoor and outdoor relationship, simplicity of design, economy of design, and incorporate the heritage of Black and Brown inside the building structures. Different colors, patterns, and textures would also be a part of the building of the Black Business Hub. Really, what is important here is the community impact felt throughout the Madison region. 45,000 square feet of space for entrepreneurs of color at below market rates. Again, the barrier to a lot of Black and Brown entrepreneurs is how much do they have to pay on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, to keep their businesses going. And a lot of times they come up against large market rates that they can't handle, they can't pay over a period of time. The Black Business Hub will be a home for them, and they won't have that type of barrier for them to move forward. There will be retail storefronts, small office spaces, co-working spaces, rentable commercial kitchen, and more. And one of the things that was talked about at the groundbreaking on Friday is that the president and CEO of Summit Credit Union, Kim Spanum, mentioned that the Summit Credit Union will have a place inside the hub so that they will be able to have the tenants there to have access to their expertise, and also have some of the younger people in the community to be able to come and learn about financial aspects of what the business is about. So that was a great thing that we had, that Kim Spanum and Summit Credit Union has given to the Black Business Hub. There will be a co-working space which will serve at least 200 current and aspiring entrepreneurs annually. We want the hub to be a catalyst for redevelopment of the overall village on Park Street, with future phases that include affordable housing, additional green space, ambitious sustainable features. We want to attract, develop, and retain Black talent throughout the region. One of the things that I think with the partnership here on campus is how do we retain our students, right? Once they graduate, where do they go? Where can they take their expertise and their knowledge to work here in Madison versus having the brain drain that we see on a regular basis? We also want to preserve Madison's oldest African-American enclave. As Brenda showed in the video on the flyover of South Madison, that Park Street corridor is a vision that has been there for a long time without the resources to grow and to entice people to come into that part of town and utilize their dollars and their talent for the citizens of South Madison. We want to establish a new model for empowering low-income communities and change lives. One of the things that, I think people in South Madison, are really proud of is the fact that they can bring that community spirit, that they can bring their partnerships and they can bring their daily lives and their lived experiences to share with other African-American and Brown and Black people in South Madison, but also to establish a model where people who might not know about South Madison, who might not care about South Madison, might now come into that area and bring their dollars, bring their expertise, and bring their knowledge to help change lives in that area. One of the things that the Black Business Hub would also do, hopefully, is to help Black businesses achieve their full potential by creating a multi-generational legacy of financial empowerment. And the thing about financial empowerment is that most of the people who live in that area, the Brown and Black, have not had historical aspects of wealth. Home ownership, a life-supporting job for their families. And so we feel that this particular impact is going to be greatly felt and needed on the south side of Madison. By 2025, our hope is to help at least 100 businesses launch and expand in the Business Hub and in South Madison. Help the entrepreneurs access at least $3 million in loans and grants by 2025. And then also have $1,500,000 of discounted rates to emerging entrepreneurs so that they can start and help their process grow and not have to have large loans and opportunities they have to give back over a period of time. And at least 150 good paying jobs in South Madison. When I say good paying, these are life supporting, real jobs that they can support their families, they can build homes, they can have good life sustaining opportunities that they can get here in South Madison. The Urban League of Greater Madison is looking to be a pipeline of people for those jobs. One of the things that we have is workforce development opportunities at the Urban League, not only on South Park Street, but also we have a workforce development office on Gammon Road across from Elford Park that I think a lot of people don't know about, but it gives the opportunity for some of these entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurs to have training and access to some of these funds. The total project cost is $25.5 million for the building, $23.3 million, and then $2.2 million for accelerator to help the process of keeping the building up and going. We just had a $1 million grant from the city, and so it's $19.5 million has been raised to date as of Friday. So our goal is to raise remaining $6 million by December 31st, 2022. Join us as we just transform Madison into a model of economic opportunity and inclusion. This is a vision of many people, as I said, but this is the vision that was presented to the board of directors of the Urban League and the community by Dr. Ruben Anthony. And if you have any other information that you would like to give to this Black Business Hub, please contact him at this information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek. What an amazing presentation with many of the details of how and where we're going to change South Madison. It has been changing for a while. I have been in this community for about 20 some years, and I have seen the change directly. My first job was at the Harambe Center. I'm sure that many of you will remember the South Madison Harambe Center that was very important to that starting of changing of the South Madison. Now it's going to be a bigger impact. So as I invite our panelists to the table, so Derek, if you don't mind coming here, and also Ed Lee and Andy Richards, I will tell you a little bit more about the video. So please welcome and have a seat. I want to tell you a little bit more about South Madison Partnership. I know that you saw the video. Hopefully you go back and watch the video again. Look at the partners that we have actually included in that video, because they are they're neighbors and they're using the South Madison Partnership in many ways. We opened in 2015, the second time. We are now in the location where the old Madison College was, the South Campus. I know that you know that they have an amazing campus now that is on the other side. The other corner is amazing. If you have the chance, please visit. They have now the cafeteria that is open, so please visit and see all of the art and the amazing community that gathers there. But we opened, South Madison Partnership opened in 2015 in the new location. Is a physical space designed to foster mutually beneficial relationship between campus and community by responding to community identified needs and reducing barriers to access. That is the main mission of the South Madison Partnership. It is located in the Villager Mall, as you know, and we welcome UW students, faculty, and staff, of course, and is open to the community. The South Madison Partnership connects the university to South Madison community. The space welcomes about 1,300 visitors a month. And I know that you know that is just limited because of our COVID situation. Now we're open and now it's a lot busier. But can you imagine having that space busy, constantly welcoming new partners and new community? We use it about 83 hours a week. So this is pretty impressive, the way that we are opening to community. And again, the partnership with campus and community. Also, we are other regular partners that are part of the South Madison Partnership are the UW Odyssey Project. It's an amazing, impactful program to the community. The Neighborhood Law Clinic, Wisconsin Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, and the new partner that we have is the Richard Dilley Tax Center through the UW Extension. So again, they are seeing now about 80 people a day when they're there filling out their taxes, free tax service. So as you can imagine, the university has devoted and invested in the South Madison. So it is really important for us to then listen a little bit more about what our guests are bringing in terms of their message. But I want to take the opportunity, if you don't mind, to introduce yourselves. I know that, Derek, you had an opportunity to have that time, but I wonder if Ed Lee, if you don't mind talking a little bit about your background, how you're connected to, of course, the hub and also the Black Business Hub, and also how you're connected to this presentation.
Sure, great. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, Edward Lee. I'm currently working as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the Urban League of Greater Madison. Have had the blessing to be part of the Urban League team with great leadership from people like Derek for 25 plus years to experience many great partnerships with the University of Wisconsin over that period of time, and I'm just looking forward to the chance to build on that and talk about that a little bit this afternoon.
Absolutely. Ed, also, we go way back. I do want to say it, but absolutely, the impact and the work that we are creating in the community, I think, is important to highlight. So hopefully we'll have the time to do it today. So Andy Richards, can you please introduce yourself, share a little bit about how you're connected to not only this presentation, but also the Black Business Hub?
Yes, thank you, Brenda. I'm Andy Richards, and I'm the director of UW-Madison's Discovery Product, or D2P. We're an office in the Vice Chancellor for Research and Graduate Education here on campus. And our goal is to help faculty, staff, and students here on campus to commercialize their research and innovation and other good ideas. You can think of us as kind of the front door for entrepreneurship here on campus. We also play a coordinating role for the UW-Madison's Innovate Network. And the Innovate Network is 18 or 19 organizations here on campus who are really focused on helping to support innovation and entrepreneurship on campus, but also to strengthen the connection between campus and our regional economic development startup ecosystem. So it's a really great resource here on campus, not just for campus, but for the community. And I became involved in this in the Black Business Hub, I guess within the last couple of years through conversations with Derek and some other individuals on campus. We've been part of a small group who've been focused on trying to understand the needs of women and underrepresented innovators here on campus, and what can we do to help better support them. And Derek has been part of that conversation, and we've been talking a little bit about the Black Business Hub, and not only how can campus support the Black Business Hub, but how could the amazing talent and resources of the Black Business Hub also support the innovators here on campus. So it's been really a great conversation, and looking forward to more partnerships with the Black Business Hub.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I know that at some point I'm going to ask if anyone has questions, if you want to stand up and go to the mic. And certainly if Laura can help us with some of the questions online. But before that, I wonder, Derek, if you can start us off with the conversation about what opportunities do you see for the university and the Black Business Hub to partner in their startup and business development, programming, and aspirations?
Thank you, Brenda. You know, I think in some of the conversations that I've had with both Ed and also with Andy and others is that why is there a need for the hub? Why is there a need to have this type of transformational opportunity now? Well, if you take a ride down Park Street and you go up and make a crossover into East Washington, and you go up East Washington, it tells you, it's pretty stark about the haves and the have-nots. and the reason why people need to have an opportunity to learn from, to engage with, and to be held to the same opportunities as other people, and especially for those who are people of color. And in this town, I've been here for 31 years, is that there hasn't been a cohesive process of doing that in Madison. And I think the time for this is now, and it's time for us to be a part of this now.
Thank you, Derek. I think it will be the same question for Andy, if you don't mind, again, talking about the opportunities that you see between the university or campus to the Black Business Hub to partner in startups and business development programming and aspirations. So go a little bit more into not only what you see in the conversations that you have had, but also what you see in the future.
Sure. So I think there are several areas, and let me start by saying, I think we're talking about how long we've known people here tonight. So I've known Dr. Ruben Anthony for over 25 years. He was in a different position than he is now, and I was in a different role as well. But I can say that even though I've known him for a long time, I don't know what all the needs are of the Black Business Hub, of the people they're going to serve and the community that they serve. So part of what I want to do as an individual, but also in my role at the university, is to better understand what those needs are and where there are opportunities to partner. And I don't have all those answers, but I'm sure we will figure them out as we continue to talk. But I do know, and you saw some of this in Derek's presentation, that they're going to have mentors there and they're going to have other resources there. And those are resources that Black and other people of color on our campus who are innovators and entrepreneurs don't have access to at this time. We don't have a lot of people of color who are mentors that can mentor individuals going through D2P, and they have the same experiences, the same culture, the same background. And so I'm really looking forward to us having an opportunity to partner with the Hub and the resources that they have. But I also think then we will have other talent and other resources here on campus, whether it's students who are going to help join some of the businesses that are being started there, or there are business individuals at the Black Business Hub who are going to want to join some of the startups that we are producing here on campus. So I'm really looking forward to us maintaining not only open dialogue, but looking for opportunities to engage with each other so that the individuals here on campus and in the Hub are finding each other. And we know that startups that have diverse individuals on their teams generally do better than those who are homogeneous. So this is really a good thing, not just for the startups here on campus, but I'm sure it'll be a good thing for the Hub as well. I also think that there's again a lot of resources. I mentioned the Innovate Network here and how they serve not just the campus, but also the community. So I think you're already partnered with the Small Business Development Center here on campus, which is great. We have a law and entrepreneurship clinic, which also provides free legal advice to people here on campus and in the community. We have the Business Entrepreneurship Clinic in the School of Business that supports both the campus and the community. There's a Center for Technology Commercialization here as well. Merlin Mentors, and there's University Research Park. So I think there's just so many opportunities for us to really work together, which will benefit not only the Black Business Hub, but also the university in many, many ways.
Thank you. I think that you are highlighting the places, the locations, the offices, the schools that really need to continue to be connected and that we need to know from each other the existence of each other, but also what work is being done. I mean, I don't want to dismiss the idea that, there's already things that are happening, of course, but at the same time, how do we continue to do that in the future? But in a more consistent way, I think is what you said, Derek, the systemic plays that we can change the way that we're creating our relationships. So Ed, if you don't mind kind of going in the same question of the opportunities that you see. I know that you have a long history, so maybe even talking a little bit about that history and then how you see this new opportunity between campus and community.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously the university is a tremendous resource in our community. It and the Urban League have done so many things, so many important things together over the years. And I think this project is one that is truly an opportunity for a mutually beneficial collaboration, right? Something that I think will bring value to both of our institutions. I think you heard Andy mention, some of the some of the obvious opportunities that where the university could bring resources to the hub. Legal services. We have one of the top bits of feedback that we are getting as we're talking to even current and aspiring entrepreneurs is how do I legally start my business, right? How do I navigate all of the different corporate structure opportunities. And so that, to me, that is like a real low-hanging obvious fruit where the university has an opportunity to bring resources out to the community, something that is much needed and will be well taken advantage of. I think of another already just in constructing the building, the university, through their Office of Sustainability, was the recipient of a resilience grant from the state. And they have been collaborating with us on how we can build environmental sustainability features just into the physical building itself, right? So received tremendous assistance from Josh Arnold and his team in writing a couple of grant applications that will hopefully fund some sort of innovative energy efficiency measures in the building, some solar PV installation in the building, and really looking at how the entire Village on Park redevelopment can be a model of sustainability. And so, those are just some examples, I think, of ways that the university is already bringing resources or can bring resources out. On the flip side of that, I think, we can be a place, a place for your students of color to find a community, right? What Derek talked about earlier is, for those with that entrepreneurial spirit, that entrepreneurial mindset, that are looking for a community that maybe has some shared lived experience like them, the hub can be a place for them, can be a place for your students. So, those are some of the things that I see as opportunities, Brenda.
Oh, absolutely. You make me smile just because I wish we had something like this before. When I came here, that's part of my journey, that I came to this university as a student. And I remember thinking about where do I find community? And that's exactly where I think that our students are saying, we want to find community. And not only that, but also the idea of retention, right, of the staff and what we have here. So I want to stop for a second and ask if you have questions. Maybe if you want to come to the mic, if you have questions, absolutely, please.
Yeah, thanks so much for the presentation. Very interesting to learn about the new entity. A question regarding what types of businesses do you foresee being created there? Service, food, or what else you're thinking the community is going to drive there?
And can I ask you just if you give a little bit of background in terms of like you were...
Yeah, happy to. Dan Olszewski, I'm the director of the Weinert Center for Entrepreneurship here on campus.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Go ahead now, Fendi.
All right. Yeah, I really would say we are anticipating a very wide range. The building itself is being designed with a lot of different types of spaces in it. We expect to have a pretty robust space for retail, kind of retail commerce on the first and sort of part of the second floor some retail storefronts of different sizes, some pop-up spaces, the ability for sort of some commerce to happen on the outside of the building, farmers markets, those types of things. There'll be just some conventional office space in the building. There will be some co-working spaces, through which we, again, expect to support business owners and entrepreneurs of all different types. I think Derek mentioned earlier that we just closed out the first round of applications for one of our grant programs, and also launched the first of our accelerator cohort classes. And literally, the businesses that we've seen come through already span the gamut. High tech, retail, some manufacturing in there, food entrepreneurs, marketing. We are seeing it all already. That's our desire. I think there is a real pent up demand for something like this. I think we've all seen kind of the pandemic sort of ignite a spirit of entrepreneurism in people, and I think that is as true, if not more true, in communities of color right now. And so we are excited by the broad range of types of businesses and entrepreneurs that we are expecting to serve and that we are seeing come through in some of our early kind of pipeline building programs for the building.
I think also being a little bit more specific, for the South Side, there are a lot of startups and entrepreneurs that don't have space. Everything from Black and brown centric types of clothing and lotions and individual things they're making, to people who have been catering out of their cars or out of their trucks for all these years, and now they can see a space where they can actually have people come in and enjoy their wares, enjoy their expertise. I think also one of the biggest things also too is that we hear a lot about healthcare, right? And people who are involved with with Black women and brown women and babies and mortalities, and they don't have spaces either. So I think this is going to have an opportunity to bring some of that informational and that kind of generational knowledge to people on the South Side of Madison. And also, I think I want to get away sometimes from just the South Side. This is a regional dream, right? This is about people. This is about humanity. It's not just down on the South Side. I think South Side is where the focus is and where the building's going to be, but it's going to be just radiates out, and it will be a structure that I think will engage everyone in the Madison and Dane County community, come and bring their spirit, bring their thought process, bring their energy, bring their resources to bear for everybody.
That's a great point. Maybe if you don't mind for the next question, but I wonder, Ed, go ahead. But if you don't mind, Ed, sharing maybe a little bit more about what Derek was saying. So it's not the impact on the South Side, but also the city or the county.
Yeah.
Were you going to say?
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I think it's appropriately located in the South Side, which I think gives us, a wonderful location, a high visibility location, the ability to, put a footprint in a community that has historically been, a diverse, a multi-ethnic neighborhood, but it is. Unquestionably a project that will serve, it will attract people from throughout the region as, customers. It will attract entrepreneurs from throughout the region. So that I think that's true. The other thing I just wanted to add, I'm glad Derek kind of mentioned food, because in the spirit of sort of meeting demands, neighborhood demands. I think there's a pretty sparse, healthy food choices in that part of town. We have carved out about 2,500 square feet for a good, healthy restaurant, in addition to some of the other food opportunities that will be available in the building. So I wanted to call some attention to that too. So if there's any aspiring restaurateurs listening today, we've got space for you. We want to hear from
There
you.
you go. I'm smiling because my office is right in front of where that hub is going to be, so I can't wait. Yes, our next question. If you don't mind introducing yourself.
Sure. My name is Amar Namakonda. I work at D2P with Andy and his team. So I'm really excited to hear about this Black Hub. And I clearly see it as a serious retail space, right? With businesses interacting and growing and so on. The talk of food brought me to think about art and culture. So wondering if there is space or, whatever graphics inside that celebrate Black heritage, maybe opportunities for like a library, museum. Have you guys any ideas on that or any plans for that?
Yeah. So I guess I would say a couple of things on that front. One is, not too far from where our building is being built, the Nehemiah Community Development Corporation is building a new Center for Black Excellence in Culture, which will offer a lot of those types of opportunities to support, celebrate, uplift Black art and culture, and absolutely intend for it to be interwoven in our building as well. We have a generous donor that does building art installations across the city that is collaborating with us. We will have some event space on the fourth floor of the building, and we've been talking about, can we do like some rotating art shows up in that space? So there will be like some sort of podcasting recording studio space in the building, if for no other reason than to help the businesses that are in the building be able to market and promote their businesses online, which is such a big way that businesses are getting out there nowadays. So appreciate that question, and it is something that we're thinking about, and again, welcome partnership opportunities to make it happen. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity with the university, right? With the art programs and music programs that they have here on campus, right? That they can utilize some of that space, the students, right? To kind of begin with their dreams, right? And their talents that are out there. So I think look on it as a two-way opportunity. I mean, this is a beautiful building here. I know this building pretty well. This is a great space, maybe to have collaborative, right? You go where they are, right? So, I think the Black Business Hub is definitely a place that students, professors, anyone can say, hey, let's try it here. And then now let's bring it out and it may have a wider, more concentric type of circle of what we're trying to do on campus. And I think that's what we're trying to have this meeting is to inform those people here on campus that yes, this is a Black Business Hub on the south side of Madison, but it's one that can really kind of engage and as said and coalesce with a lot of different groups on there. And in saying that though, I think one of the things that we've raised some good money here over the last 5 or 6 months, but we're not at the end of this, right? And when we have those types of opportunities to bring art or music or be able to go into different places on campus, it takes money, time, energy. So I'm gonna put a shout out like Ed did about the people cooking, is that if you have any of those ideas if you want those ideas to be a part of not only the campus, but also in the Madison area, is to come and talk to us about what those are, and also to talk with your friends, families, relatives who might be wanting to put some financial skin in the game as well.
That's great. So Laura, if you have questions from our friends from the Zoom call?
Actually, nobody online, but I have a question, so I'm going to
Yes.
take the prerogative of being able to stay in my seat and ask the question. So it's a question, I think, for Ed and Derek. Dr. Anthony couldn't be here today because he's speaking at the National Urban League. I'm wondering what kind of reception you have nationally for this project, and if there are other models that you've been looking at as you've been designing this around the country that are informing what you're doing, and then also how you're informing what's possible on the national stage.
Well, I can say that specifically, Dr. Anthony is at the State of Black America right now in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's kind of apropos about the timing of the groundbreaking and what we're trying to do moving forward, because it is about what is the state of our country, what is the state of our people in the country, what are we trying to do, and how can we lift everyone up, right? Rise all boats, as we say. So I think that I know that Dr. Anthony and Ed have looked on this as kind of like the incubation of ideas and thoughts, right? You know, not only did Dr. Jack Daniels bring Madison College to the South Side, but you have Dr. G, who is doing the Center for Black Excellence, and this is just a start. There's going to be a multitude of opportunities moving forward. So again, what we wanted to do is to kind of explain, as best we could, what we feel the Black Business Hub would be and how it can be a start of a true renaissance. We talk about $20 million here, $40 million here, $50 million here to have individual types of programs. But why not work with some of these developers and people in the region and make a $500 million opportunity, right? Just think if we had $500 million pool to utilize here in Madison. Not only could it affect what's happening on campus, but it would be a great boon to a lot of different people outside of the campus area. So just kind of whetting the thought process of what this hub can bring, what it will do, and quite honestly, what types of thought process and other things that we can utilize to make this a successful venture.
Ed, do you have anything more?
Yeah, I maybe would add a couple of things. Like Derek said, I think it's. I think one of the great things is our opportunity to leverage kind of a national network of affiliates across the country. There's 100 or so urban leagues, that all operate somewhat independently in their own communities and respond to their communities' needs. But, we very much are sharing this, the idea, the concept throughout the Urban League network, the way that we made it happen, the kind of approach to financing it and making it happen. I do think there are great opportunities there. But to the other part of your question, Laura, are we learning from others and inside and outside the Urban League network? The answer is yes, we are. I think in a lot of ways, probably the first and biggest inspiration for the project was the Sherman Phoenix in Milwaukee. There was, I think, a group of South Madison leaders that took a trip down to the Sherman Phoenix, which is, in Milwaukee. It was built as a sort of multi-tenant group of Black businesses in an old BMO Harris Bank that got burned during some social unrest down there a number of years ago. And, some folks from Madison went down there a couple of years ago as kind of part of some South Madison visioning that the Urban League and others in the community were doing. And people came back really inspired, to see, to see exactly what we're trying to do here, right? To see a sort of coalition of Black business owners together in one space and, doing great things and really excited and proud. I was actually down there myself a couple of months ago and, just doing some shopping with actually the architect for our building, and one of the business owners in the building just like took it upon herself basically to spend like an hour and a half touring us around the place, introducing us. I mean, like just the pride, I guess, the enthusiasm, the pride that she felt for being part of that community down there. It's what we're trying to create here, and so folks, folks took that inspiration and said, why can't we have something like that in South Madison? I think that was really a pretty pivotal inspiration for the Urban League, for Ruben to make something happen.
Thank you, Ed.
We do have a question online from an anonymous attendee who asks if access to the Black Business Hub Words Grant programs is strictly for Madison or local businesses, or Black businesses and entrepreneurs that have utilized other UW geographical SBDCs across Wisconsin.
At this point, we are. I mean, it's. We are looking for businesses that are interested in being part of the hub community in some way, shape, or form. So, they don't necessarily have to be opening a business in the building, but I think for our loans and grants, for accelerator program, the eligibility criteria are that they're willing to make a commitment to be part of the hub community in some way. And, whether that means being part of the co-working space, being part of a learning community with the other businesses in the hub, but the resources are predicated on some commitment to be part of the Black Business Hub community, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Derek?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. No, I was just gonna. No, I was just gonna say, Andy hasn't had a chance to speak, and I just want to say something about Andy and D2P. I've been involved with them for almost 3 years now, and Andy and I met out here outside WID and said, hey, how can we work together on increasing our student population and our entrepreneurs on campus to have a climate that was inclusive, a climate of inclusivity of those students and people who might not have the same startup opportunities or the same mentorship opportunities. And I just wanted to throw a shout out to Andy, because he has been steadfast on that. I know that the people who are involved in our committee are steadfast on that from across the campus. So if you are here and you're a part of the campus environment, go out and shout out to the rooftops about what we're trying to do, not only on campus, but off campus as well, and the collaboration that I think is made available. We don't start anything until we engage, right? So let's try to do that. But thank you, Andy. And I don't know if you want to expound on that, but I think you've been bulldogged about getting this going. So I think that's what we need in this community.
Thanks, Derek. I don't know that I have a lot to say to that, except for I think we all recognize the incredible need we have in our community, the need for this collaboration. And it's a need that the campus has, and it's a need that the community has. And I'm really proud to be engaged with you and the Urban League and others who are trying to, or who are making this happen. And it's a great thing for our community and for our university.
Thank you for holding space and to make sure that you are giving the opportunity to the voice. But I wonder if you can, to the voice of the community, but I wonder if you can add to that in terms of like that dream of what you see in campus that you think that you can bring to that conversation with community. I think it is really important for us in the community, for the hub, for many other organizations to hear that voice loud and clear from the campus leadership. I think it will be important to hear a little bit more about what your thoughts are in that and how you're bringing that connection in terms of not only the students, but also opportunities for, again, recruiting staff, faculty. Maybe that's an idea that I know that happens to me at the South Madison Partnership, that I get the call with, we are about to recruit, we want to show the community, and can we connect with South Madison Partnership? So I'm wondering if you have any other thoughts, and I will get to you and your question very soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda. I'll share just a couple other thoughts as well. I know that we and the Urban League have a common interest in all members of our community having an opportunity to succeed, but also an opportunity to go ahead and have equitable outcomes in our community as well. And so that's, big picture, one of the big needs we both have. But Brenda and you and Derek and Ed have also talked about the talent and the need for us as a university to attract diverse talent to our institution. And we spend a lot of time, money, effort on doing that. And it's hard to retain that talent, whether you're students or faculty or staff, if you don't feel like you're part of a community and you don't feel like you have friends that you can develop and a culture that you fit into. And so we know on campus here over the last 10 years, just one data point, that the people of color, faculty of color who have left our institution is about double our white faculty. And so we know there's a need to go ahead and help support the Black Business Hub and other efforts here in the community that strengthen the whole community and the diversity of our community. And so retention of faculty, staff, and students, and then the ability, if we have a strong, diverse culture here and community, we'll better be able to attract talent as well. So I think that's a huge part of the win. And then also the talents that we attract become great talent, though, for the Black Business Hub and for the other organizations in town. So this is really a symbiotic relationship that we need to continue to develop.
Absolutely, win-win. So your question, please. You want to come to the mic? Will be great.
I'm Mary Carbine. I also am on the team at D2P and work with Andy. I have both a comment and a question. In a previous career, for 10 years, I worked in downtown Madison with downtown Madison business community and was there during the time of the East Washington development, Derek, that you had referenced. And I just want to really support what you said, that I think South Madison, you're poised for success. Because when you look at East Washington, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, it was car, dealerships, etc. But what really kind of sparked it is those first lead anchor projects. The Brink, they went in and did it. Everyone else saw it worked, and then more. So with multiple high profile projects and the energy happening, that once someone sees you've done it, then they think, okay, no one wants to be first, right? In terms of the development. And also that you are developing a pipeline of tenants. It's not just the businesses themselves, but you're developing a pipeline of qualified tenants. I did a lot of intake and counseled new retail, restaurant, and service businesses that wanted to be in State Street in the Capitol Square. And even at that level, where they might have the investment level, the readiness isn't always there, and it's crucial. So your ability to develop a pipeline of ready tenants, I think, is going to also help build on that success. So that's my comment. My question is, you talked about the G Alpha and the grants program. I'm wondering, at this point, are you thinking about, or do you have ideas for where the folks who come out of G Alpha will go? Are you thinking of any, programs down the line, or what are you thinking afterwards to keep that pipeline going?
Thank you. Ed?
Yeah. So appreciate that question. And for sure, for some of them, they will go to G Beta, which is, so we're collaborating with Generator, and they are sort of running some customized versions of their accelerator programs for Urban League. And our initial contract with them is to run some cohorts of their G Alpha and G Beta cohorts classes. And so, that's certainly one pathway. They, as you may know, they also have some sort of investment-based accelerator programs that, people, that might be an option for certain entrepreneurs, certain business owners down the road. We were fortunate to have received a grant from the state of Wisconsin as part of their some of their ARPA money that will provide us with funding for some staffing and programming to build more cohort style accelerator programming, more coaching and training. So we've got about $1 million grant from the state to expand the sort of offering of programs that will be operating. So this sort of G Alpha class is just the start for us, and we have lots more planned that we will run directly, but also, again, this is where I think there's just great opportunity for us to really connect to, other programming, other resources that are available. So I think, we can be as much a navigator for people, a resource connector for people and entrepreneurs that are going to be in the hub. We don't have to run it all ourselves, but we can be a guide to direct people to other things that are available in the community as well. So I hope that helps a little bit. And can I just say one thing too? Since you mentioned East Washington, I think I don't know that we saw that development happen in a way that was particularly inclusive. If you look at, sort of the, what's coming north and heading south down Park Street has been a lot of development as well over the last 5 to 10 years. And likewise, not very inclusive development. And so, I think that, back to that question about why South Madison, I think if the Urban League and, Brandon Rule with his housing project and Pastor G with the Center for Black Excellence did not take the stand when they did now, to say we are going to be part of this economic development, I think you would see what's happening on the north end of Park Street just make its way all the way up to the Beltline, and there be no inclusive economic opportunity there.
Thank you, Ed. Very important point. Derek?
Yeah, I think to piggyback on what Ed is saying, I think this is our first venture, all right? This is just the start. One of the things I think that the Urban League has done over the years and have been proud of is to be community listeners, right? What does the community need moving forward besides just this? How is it going to be there? How do we interact and engage with the community members to make sure this is what they want? I think that's an opportunity for the Black Business Hub, right? We're not just doing this to put it up and saying, this is what we think you want and we want you to have this. We're listening to the community, what their needs are, and building this around those needs for that. So I think that I used the word beacon, and I'm sorry about that, but I think it is. I think the things that are happening on South Madison are engaging everybody in Madison, right? What can I bring to this venture? How can I help? Not only in funding, but thought process and energy and time, right? We don't have all the answers, right? But we're going to try to utilize as much conversation and engagement as we can to make this a successful venture. And I know that if Dr. Anthony was here, he would say the same thing because he's all about engagement. So I think that's one of the things that I think this is going to be. People on the south side of Madison are going to have pride in their enclave and pride on where they're from and what they're doing. And I think that in itself is an intrinsic value that we can't really put a dollar amount on.
Thank you, Derek. Do we have more questions?
Don't be shy, now's the time to ask.
I know. Yes, please. If you don't mind introducing yourself and ask the questions.
Sure, thank you. Alan Fish. I worked for state
Yes.
government for about 10 years and the university for about 30 years. I'm here both as a cheerleader and a challenger. The cheerleader part is what a fantastic vision for business development for not just the community, but for the whole region. The challenge is, having been in this role for 35 plus years, I've been personally involved in many attempts to diversify the campus, diversify the community, and I've unsuccessfully tried to attract Black talent. I have sometimes successfully attracted Black talent and lost them very soon because the word was out that Madison is not a great place for Black people to live. We see in Newsweek, we're the #1 community to live. Everybody should come here. Well, it's not been that way for Blacks and for anybody of color, but particularly the experience I've had. So to me, the solution is kind of what you were talking about, Derek. It's got to be a multifaceted attack at kind of the liberalism in Madison is skin deep. We have to face up to that, and we have to do things, many things, at the same time. And it can't just be the university, because when we successfully brought people here and tried to build a climate for them, that worked Monday through Friday when they were at work. And then afterwards, where did you go in the evenings? Where did you go on the weekends? I had people who lived here and worked here for 6 years, never spent a weekend in Madison. They went home to Chicago, because that's where their culture was. That's where their support network was. So we have to have, this is a piece, we need many pieces. And so I'm a great cheerleader for this, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have a long way to go.
Thank you, Al. And I appreciate that, and you're spot on. I think the thing is I use 2 words specifically how a lot of times people of color don't feel that they're a part. One is being welcomed. The other one is feeling that they belong. Those are 2 separate things. And if you welcome people, giving them a job, an opportunity to come here, but you don't make them feel that they belong, then that's where we leave. And I think that having the Black Business Hub will allow those individuals of color to see other individuals of color succeed, strive, fail, right? And also be a place where they can now entertain, who is that person? I want to get to know that person. What do they do outside of their, Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays when they're here, right? I mean, a community is not just working in a place, right? It's, what churches do you go to? Where do you get your hair cut? Where do you go to listen to some good music? Where are the ethnic, foods that people of color eat, right? All those sorts of things goes into that. And I think that the different things that are happening on the South Side with Dr. G's, Center for Black Excellence will help with that. Clean Care with what he's doing in educational part of One City Schools is another part of that. So there are things that are starting. They weren't here 31 years ago when I came here to Madison, but they're starting. And as I said before, and as Ed said, this is just the beginning. Hopefully that we will engage, and this is the kind of like the launch of people's thought process of how can I help, what can I do to make this a better place for not just people who live in the South Madison neighborhood, but also on the whole, including campus. Just a little anecdote. Now, my nephew came here last year as a football scholarship recipient from Southern California, where I grew up. He decided not to come here, even though he loved his uncle, right? Because of all the things that you talked about, right? He's not going to always spend his time with his 67-year-old uncle, right? Where is he going to go, and what is he going to do with other people his age, his thought process to do that? And again, that's part of making them feel belonged into the community, and not only on campus but off campus as well. But great points, and hopefully the Black Business Hub is just another thought process that people will see come to fruition, and that they will engage with that, and it will just grow from there.
Great, deep question, important question, and points. Thank you, Al. Andy or Ed, any other comments related?
I guess I would make a comment. Here at Entrepreneurons, we talk a lot about how do we commercialize the research coming out of the university? How do we continue to grow the technology hub that Madison is becoming? And I was reminded of a presentation that I saw by Mark Murrow, who is a Brookings Institute policy director and fellow. And this was December of 2018. The Chamber of Commerce brought him into town to talk about how great the growth has been in Madison around technology and software and so forth. And he had lots of great things to say about our community, but he also had a big caution, and that was around the income inequality and the mobility, the lack of mobility in our community. And this is, to Alan, to your point. And he really said, these are things you need to focus on. The metro areas that are growing per capita income are those that have upward mobility. And that income disparity is going to go ahead and hurt our technology growth as well. And so this is something that as we talk about at Entrepreneurons and what we're trying to do, this is a really big issue for everybody in our community, and the continuation of the tech center that is being developed, the tech hub that's being developed here. And we want to make sure that everybody is able to participate in that growth and the extra income that it's going to generate. So it's a really important issue for all of us.
Thank you.
I know we're getting down to the end here. I just want to mention this one quote from Maya Angelou. I'm going to leave with this. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. So my challenge to everybody here and out in the streaming world, now that we know, let's do better, and with all the passion we can muster. So let's do better.
That's great.
Goes to your point out.
Thank you. Ed, anything else?
I don't know how to add to that, but I guess what I will say as a parting thought is, I think there is tremendous opportunity for partnership. We've I think just scratched the surface tonight of what that could be. But I would also say it doesn't always come easy. I don't think this is not a short-term solution. This is long-term work. This is work that's going to require real intentionality. This is work that's going to see things succeed and see things fail. And I think that's what we need to bring to this partnership. It's hard work. Sometimes sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not. And, we need to stick with it. We need to stick with it long term.
Great ending. We have 1 minute left. I want to thank every single one of you for coming here for this conversation. I agree, is the start of the conversation of many conversations and partnerships that we'll have. Thank you for the listeners that are online. Thank you so much for joining us. But I really want to thank Derek, Andy, and Ed for coming and sharing your vision, for coming and sharing the ideas about partnerships that we should have between campus and community, particularly with the Black Business Hub. And of course, this is an impact that will benefit all of us, not only here on campus or South Side, but it is really original change that we can't wait to see. Thank you, everyone.